No, not really. Don't burn it down. And that sounded more like DX than actually Seth Rollins' intro. But whatever, guys. Who's ready to get angry in the comments? Hopefully you are, because in this video I'm going to show you why this figure is just a step above trash. T-R-A-S-H. That's right, baby. This is another failed Seth Rollins figure, in my opinion, but I haven't even taken it out of the box, but you will find out in the following minutes what I am talking about. Here is Seth Rollins with the WWE Championship. It says it includes a championship and an entrance vest, and he's wearing his SummerSlam 2016 attire, which is very greeny yellow, Tron inspired, perchance. And on the side, there's a very happy picture of Seth Rollins that looks more like Shield Seth Rollins than the Seth Rollins from this time. But then again, what does that even mean? And here's a picture on the back that looks more like Seth Rollins from this time. And it's cool to see that Mattel actually photoshopped the attire, because that's not actually the vest, what the vest looked like at SummerSlam 2016, because instead of sculpting a new vest, Mattel decided to fake it and make you believe that's how the vest actually was. On the back of the box, it says things. His finishing move is a pedigree. Interesting. He changed it, though. He has a different move now. It's like, I don't know, knee Kenny Omega style. But now is the part where I open this up and then we bust out the review. Unboxing portion. Here's his accessory. We're starting off with the next. No, we aren't. Here's the figure out of the box, and hold on a minute. Let me start this off with some professionalism. Rotate, baby! So I have three problems with this figure. First of all, I hate Seth Rollins and his skinny legs on the figures. Why do Mattel have to do this every single time? Why don't they just use the thick legs for Rollins? I don't know, but here he is presented with thinner legs. I will show you what I mean a little later. Also, is this the right color tone? This looks a bit greenish. Was it green or yellow? Here's a picture of the actual event so you can see, but the main problem I see here, other than that face, is that they just reused the old Seth Rollins vest mold instead of actually using a vest that was like the vest he wore at the event, because the only line on the front was actually for a zipper. There was no detail on that vest. And on the back, it's unfortunate that such a cool logo is marred by the straps to hold it in. So if you want to take it off, the vest off, to see the chest hair that is underneath it, you'll unfortunately maybe have some difficulty getting it back on, and then that back thing will not look as cool as it should. I'll show you that later again, but here it is, just professionally rotating so you guys can get a sense of this figure. But you know what it's time for? It's time for me to pause the rotation and get to the roastation. Boom! We got this version that's a basic. This figure, basic. Right here you can see how different the thighs are, and how on the basic they are much thicker. Hopefully you can see that right here. Also, it's interesting to note that the basic is a bit more yellowish, while the elite is a bit more greenish. At first I thought the elite was not as bright, but it seems like in actuality the elite is a lot brighter for the legs and the boots, but unfortunately the top isn't as bright, as saturated as I would like. Face-wise, they're relatively similar, just the elite has better rotation for the eyebrows and a worse paint application for the mustache. Like, what's going on there? That was a big botch. And I think the hair is slightly darker on the elite, and the arms are not as buff. Do you think Seth Rollins should deserve a little more buff arms for the elite, or do you think these are fine? Ooh. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of these skinny legs, and I've said that every single time. Also, they didn't mold these knee pads in this greenish yellowish highlight color, so you might get a little bit of runoff and paint flaws and chips there, which is unfortunate considering that the majority of this piece is that green color. But you can see when you bend the knees that that little design is kind of continued under each knee, but not perfectly. And here again, a better look at what I'm talking about. See how that design is just under there? And this is something Mattel has been doing with Seth Rollins, is that they made this one vest that he wore I'd say for a while that had this very specific design on it. It was sculpted into the vest. It was part of the fashion. But then when he stopped using this vest and that fashion, instead of Mattel just molding a different vest, they keep reusing it and trying to make his current contemporary vests look like it works for this, but it's not. And you can definitely see how it just straight up doesn't match up with the design on it or anything, and they just straight up printed that over the raised portions, and I don't like that. I think it would have been a lot smarter for them to just make a new sculpt instead of keep reusing this unnecessary sculpt, especially if you had something where the tabs were on the sides, because then that wouldn't destroy this really cool looking Seth Rollins logo on the back, which you try and pop it off, and then everyone knows how difficult these things are to get back on, and it just totally loses that immersion in there, because these tabs are really difficult to put on and put off. And if they were on the side, it wouldn't break that immersion as much as it does here, because you guys know me, I'm a figure collector. I usually know how to pop these tabs in, but it's just really difficult with Seth Rollins vests, and usually I just leave them a little open like this. But something like this figure, I'd highly recommend you never pop it open, because you're going to see a lot of difficulty trying to take that off. But of course, I'm a reviewer, so I have to take it off so I can show you guys what's going on with his chest. He's hairy. He got a lot of hair on there. This is a hairy Seth Rollins, which is cool because he does have a lot of chest hair nowadays, and I think that works. But this head, oh my gosh, what's going on there? I do like the chest hair and stuff like that. The back, he does have his tattoo. And then we can zoom out a little and compare this to the basic. And here I think you can definitely see those skinny legs in action. And if they were able to buff it up, I think that this would be a really great Seth Rollins, other than that head and the vest. And of course, have to try and get this back on. Here it is, not even on the figure, and I'm having difficulty getting the tabs to fit in place. This is not really the best design. I'm not sure why Mattel keeps on reusing it, because these tabs just do not want to go in place. I was able to get it in relatively all right, not on the figure, but of course it's still popping out and stuff like that. So when you get it, try and get it on the figure, it's going to be nearly impossible unless you're like a freaking prodigy who can close those tabs. All right, here's the best I could do trying to get it back on the back. And yeah, you can really tell what I mean by it breaks the immersion. It's not perfect at all, so I recommend if you actually do pick up this figure, never open the back, which is a bit unfortunate because that chest hair really elevates this figure when you take off this vest that I think is relatively bad because it has this dumb sculpting that it doesn't need, and this is just totally ruined by those dumb flaps. So I think it's one of those things where it's like they should have either just had a non-removable vest and put that cool decal on the back, or sculpted a new vest or something and had the tabs on the side so it's not as, so it doesn't break the design as much. And I know at the start of this video I said that this is a trash figure. It's not really trash. It's just a big step back from Mattel, and not really actually, because this is kind of par for the course, so sorry I said that. Well, maybe it is a big step back because we got this WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which if you guys remember history, SummerSlam 2016 was post the WWE brand split, so this championship was not on Raw, which Seth Rollins was on. This was actually on SmackDown. Dean Ambrose held it. And I'm really confused why this figure comes with it, because the match that Seth Rollins was in was against Finn Balor for the WWE Universal Championship. So I don't get it. Like, yeah, sure, I'll take another one of these because Mattel gives it with basically every figure they release nowadays, but like, have a little accuracy, please. So yeah, this figure isn't the worst, and maybe I was a little hyperbolic at the beginning, but it's certainly not the best Seth Rollins figure, and there are definitely many elements of this figure that I think hold it back. But if you're a kid that just really likes Seth Rollins in this design, I'm sure that you'll totally be fine with these shortcomings, but maybe you won't be. Who knows? Let me know in the comments, because this is not just me talking to you. I'd also like you to talk to me. And hey, if you want to talk to me, remember to subscribe and like this video so more people can see it and we can have a better conversation. But yeah, I don't like that look one bit. But cheers, guys. Love ya.